Good evening. Are you ready to ignite that spark, to feel alive, to rediscover what love feels like when it lifts you, empowers you, transforms you? Imagine for a moment that the love you crave, deeper, richer, more vibrant, is already pulsing inside of you. You already carry the power. Today, you're not here to fix love. You're here to awaken it, to let it roar through your life and your relationships with clarity, joy, and unstoppable connection. This isn't about luck or fairy tale romance. This is about awakening an identity, the person who commands love, who deserves love, and who gives love relentlessly. Tonight, we embark on a journey, not just to change, but to emerge as someone who naturally magnetizes the relationship you've always deserved. You want to build the relationship you've always dreamed of. Then listen closely. Nothing extraordinary can be built on a shaky foundation. You don't start by demanding more from your partner or by hoping they'll finally change. You start with you. You start by becoming the kind of person who is capable of creating and sustaining deep connection. Because love is not luck. Love is not chance. Love is a decision, a standard, and a practice. The truth is, most people step into relationships hoping someone else will fill the gaps they refuse to face in themselves. They expect another human being to heal wounds they've been avoiding for years. That's like building a skyscraper on sand. It looks good for a moment, but sooner or later, the cracks show. If you want something real, something lasting, you must first commit to building a foundation of connection within yourself. That foundation begins with clarity. What do you truly want? Not the surface-level answer you've repeated 100 times, but the raw, honest truth. Most people think they want passion or security or companionship, but when you peel back the layers, what they're really craving is to feel seen, to feel heard, to feel alive in the presence of another human being. When you know what you actually desire at the deepest level, you stop wasting time asking for scraps and start holding yourself to a higher standard. Now, clarity is only the first piece. The second piece is identity. Who do you need to become in order to live in that kind of love? If you want trust, then you must be trustworthy. If you want passion, then you must show up passionately. If you want joy, then you must bring joy into the room. You can't sit back and wait for someone else to deliver what you're unwilling to create. The relationship you've always wanted starts with raising your own standards. And here's the secret. When you raise your standards, everything shifts. People feel it. Your energy changes. You stop showing up as someone begging for validation and start radiating as someone who already owns their worth. That's magnetic. That's irresistible. That's what draws people into your orbit. The third piece of the foundation is appreciation. Too often, we become experts at noticing what's missing, what they didn't say, what they forgot to do, what they should have done differently. But when you live in that state, you kill connection before it even has a chance to grow. The heart thrives on appreciation. When you train yourself to look for what's beautiful, what's strong, what's courageous in yourself and in others, you create an atmosphere where love can breathe. And here's the truth. Appreciation is not a one-time act. It's a muscle. If you don't use it, it withers. If you strengthen it, it transforms the entire dynamic. The fourth piece is presence. In a world where everyone is distracted by phones, by deadlines, by endless noise, one of the greatest gifts you can give your partner is your full, undivided attention. I mean real presence, eyes locked. Heart open, no multitasking, no scrolling, just being fully there. When you bring that level of presence into a relationship, you send the message, you matter, you are significant. Right now, nothing is more important than this moment with you. That's oxygen for love. Finally, the foundation of connection requires courage, because let's be honest, love will expose you. It will bring up fears you didn't know you had, fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, fear of not being enough. Most people hide from those fears, and in doing so, they sabotage their relationships before they've even begun. But when you face those fears, when you open yourself to vulnerability, when you're willing to risk being seen as you truly are, you create the space for real intimacy. And yes, it's scary, but it's also the gateway to the deepest, most fulfilling relationships you can imagine. So, if you want to awaken love and create the relationship you've always wanted, stop looking outward first. Stop waiting for someone else to fix it. Look inward, ask yourself, what do I truly want? Who must I become? What standards will I no longer compromise? Then live from that place every single day. The foundation of connection is not built in grand gestures. It's built in the daily choice to show up as your best, most alive, most present self. It's built in the little acts of appreciation, the courageous moments of vulnerability, the refusal to settle for mediocrity when your heart craves greatness. Because here's the bottom line, the love you want will never come from luck. It comes from the foundation you lay. Build that foundation strong and everything else, trust, passion, joy will rise naturally. Build it weak and no amount of effort will hold it together. The choice is yours. Raise your standards, anchor into clarity, live with appreciation, and bring presence and courage into every interaction. Do that and you don't just create a relationship, you create a love story worth living. If you want a relationship that's unshakable, passionate, and alive, you've got to master the battlefield that matters most, and that battlefield isn't out there. It's not your partner's moods or their choices or the world around you. The battlefield is inside, it's your emotions, because if you can't master your emotional world, then your relationship is at the mercy of every storm that passes through. But when you take control, when you own your state, you become unstoppable. That's the superpower. Think about it. Most fights between couples are not about the actual issue. It's not really about the dishes in the sink, or the way they looked at their phone, or the thing they said last week. The fight happens because one person gets triggered, the other reacts, and suddenly two people who love each other are locked in a spiral of anger, defensiveness, and pain. The problem isn't the problem. The problem is that emotions are running the show. So what happens when you learn to master those emotions? Everything changes. Instead of being hijacked by fear or jealousy or resentment, you become the one in charge. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop being a prisoner of your feelings and start using them as fuel for connection. The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you don't notice. Most people move through life on autopilot. They don't even recognize when they're triggered until they've already blown up or shut down. But when you start to slow down and pay attention, you realize emotions are signals. They're messengers. Anger isn't just anger, it's pointing to a boundary. Sadness isn't just sadness. It's pointing to a need for connection. Fear isn't just fear, it's pointing to an area where growth is calling you. When you decode the signal instead of reacting blindly, you turn your emotions into guidance instead of chaos. The second step is state. Your emotions live in your body first. The way you breathe, the way you move, the way you use your face. These things aren't just reflecting your emotions, they're creating them. Try slumping your shoulders, shallow breathing, looking down, and telling me you feel powerful. It's impossible. Change your physiology, and you change your emotional state instantly. That's the lever most people forget to use. You don't have to wait for the world to calm down before you feel centered. You can shift your body, shift your breath, shift your focus, and own your state right now. The third step is meaning. Nothing in your relationship has meaning until you give it one. Your partner comes home late. What does it mean? To one person, it means they don't care about me. To another, it means they must be working hard for us. Same event, two totally different emotional realities. The meaning you attach will determine whether you feel love or resentment. And here's the power. You get to choose. If you're in charge of meaning, then you're in charge of your emotions. That's freedom. The fourth step is focus. Where focus goes, energy flows. If you constantly focus on what's missing, you'll feel lack. If you focus on what's wrong, you'll feel frustration. But if you focus on what's beautiful, on what's working, on what you appreciate, then love expands. Your partner is not perfect. They never will be, neither are you. But the more you focus on their strengths, their efforts, their unique ways of loving, the more your relationship transforms. Now, emotional mastery doesn't mean you'll never feel negative emotions again. That's not the goal. The goal is to shorten the gap between reaction and choice. Maybe you get triggered, but instead of staying stuck in anger for 3 hours, you shift in 3 minutes. Maybe you feel hurt, but instead of shutting down for days, you communicate and reconnect within the hour. That's the difference between a relationship that deteriorates and one that grows stronger through every challenge. Here's the truth: emotions are contagious. If you walk into the room tense, frustrated, resentful, your partner feels it instantly. But if you walk in energized, loving, open, they feel that too. Mastering your emotions isn't just for you. It's for the energy you bring to the relationship. You can literally elevate your partner by being the one who chooses love in the moment when it's hardest. So ask yourself, what state am I living in most of the time? Do I let anger and fear run my life, or do I condition gratitude, joy, love, and courage every single day? Because your relationship will rise or fall to the level of your emotional mastery. Emotional mastery is not about perfection. It's about practice. It's about making the decision every day to take back the wheel, to feel the fear and not be controlled by it, to acknowledge the anger but choose a higher response, to notice the sadness and open the door to deeper connection. When you do that, your relationship stops being a roller coaster you can't control and becomes a journey you actually want to be on. That's the superpower. When you master your emotions, you master your relationship. And when you master your relationship, you create a life filled with love, passion, and resilience. This is your edge. This is your leverage. Own it, and you'll never settle for anything less than extraordinary again. If there's one skill that can make or break your relationship, it's communication. Because no matter how much love you feel, if you can't express it in a way that lands, it won't matter. No matter how much frustration you're holding, if you deliver it with blame, it will destroy connection. Communication is the lifeline of love, and the truth is, most people were never taught how to do it. They speak to be right, not to be understood. They listen to respond, not to connect. And then they wonder why love feels like it's fading. So, what does it take to communicate in a way that elevates your relationship? The first step is understanding that words are not just sounds. They are triggers. Every word you speak either builds a bridge or erects a wall. And the tone behind your words often matters more than the words themselves. You can say "I love you" in a flat voice and it lands like nothing. You can say "we need to talk" with harshness and it lands like an attack. Elevating your communication starts with owning the energy behind your words. The second step is curiosity. Most arguments are fueled not by the content but by the assumptions we make. Your partner says something and instantly you attach meaning. They don't care. They don't listen. They're judging me. But what if instead of assuming, you became curious? What if you leaned in and said, "Help me understand what you mean by that. What's most important to you here?" That shift alone can dissolve tension in seconds, because curiosity turns confrontation into collaboration. It says, "I want to see your world. I want to know what's behind your words." The third step is validation. People don't need you to agree with them all the time, but they need to feel understood. When someone feels seen, when their experience is acknowledged, their defenses drop. Saying, "I hear you, I get why that matters to you, that makes sense," doesn't mean you're surrendering your truth. It means you're creating space for theirs, and in that space, real dialogue can happen. The fourth step is intentional language. Too many couples use words carelessly. "You always," "you never," "you make me." Those words are poison. They put your partner on the defensive instantly, and when people feel attacked, they fight back or shut down. Elevating communication means shifting to language that opens, not closes. Instead of "you never listen," try "I feel unseen when I talk, and I'd love more presence from you." Instead of "you make me angry," try "when this happens, I feel hurt, and I want us to handle it differently." The difference is massive. One creates walls, the other invites change. The fifth step is presence. True communication doesn't happen when you're halves. Growing, half listening, or mentally planning your next response. It happens when you drop everything and give your full attention, eye contact, stillness, leaning in, because in that moment you're not just hearing words, you're absorbing their world. Presence says you matter, right now, nothing else matters more than this. That's what elevates love. The sixth step is appreciation. Imagine if every single day you told your partner something you admired, valued, or appreciated about them. Not once a year, not just on anniversaries, but every day. Imagine if you trained your mind to look for what's right instead of obsessing over what's wrong. That's not cheesy, that's oxygen for the soul. A relationship dies when communication becomes a list of complaints. It thrives when communication becomes a stream of appreciation. And let's talk about conflict. Conflict isn't the enemy. Avoiding it or mishandling it is. Conflict can actually deepen love if it's handled with respect and vision. The key is to shift the frame. Instead of me versus you, make it us versus the problem. When both of you stand on the same side, looking at the challenge together, it no longer feels like a battle, it feels like teamwork, and teamwork creates bonding. Now, here's the final and most important truth. Communication isn't about perfection. You will get it wrong sometimes, you will snap when you didn't mean to, you'll say the wrong thing, that's part of being human. What matters is your willingness to repair, to circle back and say, I'm sorry, that wasn't the best version of me, let me try again. That humility doesn't weaken connection, it strengthens it, because love isn't built on never falling, it's built on always returning. So ask yourself, how am I communicating every day? Am I speaking in a way that builds bridges or burns them? Am I listening with curiosity or with judgment? Am I validating and appreciating, or am I criticizing and blaming? Because your relationship will rise or fall to the level of your communication. Communication that elevates is not complicated. It's a choice. A choice to speak with intention, to listen with heart, to validate with compassion, to appreciate with consistency, and to handle conflict as teammates instead of enemies. When you make that choice daily, your words stop being weapons and start becoming instruments of love. That's how you elevate. That's how you create a relationship where every conversation builds connection, fuels passion, and reminds both of you why you chose each other in the first place. Every relationship lives at a certain frequency. You can feel it the moment you walk into a room. Some couples radiate warmth, laughter, a sense of aliveness. You just want to be around them. Others carry heaviness, tension, or indifference. You can almost taste the distance. The truth is, relationships either expand or contract based on the emotional energy you both bring. If you want extraordinary love, you have to raise the frequency of your relationship. You have to consciously elevate the emotions you feed it every single day. Most people treat love like a car they bought years ago. They drive it, they maintain it when something breaks, but they rarely upgrade it, polish it, or fuel it with excitement, and then they wonder why the spark is gone. Love isn't self-sustaining. It needs energy, it needs passion, it needs intention. If you want your relationship to thrive, you can't just keep it on life support. You've got to flood it with energy that makes it come alive. So how do you raise that frequency? It starts with appreciation. Love can't breathe in an atmosphere of criticism. It shrivels under constant negativity. But when you look for what's beautiful, when you celebrate even the smallest efforts, you change the entire emotional climate. Think about it. How do you feel when someone truly notices you? Not just for the big things, but for the everyday ways you show up. That one moment of appreciation can light you up for hours. Imagine what would happen if you gave that gift to your partner daily. The second way to raise the frequency is through joy. Too many couples forget to play. They take care of responsibilities, they solve problems, they manage life. But they stop laughing, stop dancing, stop being silly together. Joy isn't a bonus, it's a necessity. When you create moments of joy, you inject vitality into the relationship. That might be turning up music in the kitchen and dancing like kids. It might be cracking an inside joke at the end of a long day. It might be surprising them with something small and thoughtful. Joy lifts the energy instantly. It tells your nervous system, we're alive, we're together, and this is fun. The third way is passion. Passion doesn't just mean physical intimacy, though that matters. Passion means bringing energy, intensity, and desire into how you show up. It's the difference between good to see you and God, I've missed you. It's the difference between brushing past your partner and pulling them in for a kiss that makes them forget the world. Passion is a choice. It's about not letting comfort turn into complacency. If you want the frequency high, you've got to keep fueling the fire, not wait for it to burn on its own. The fourth way is growth. Stagnation kills relationships. If you're not growing together, you're drifting apart. Growth doesn't mean you're both on the same path at the same pace. It means you're both committed to evolving, to becoming more than you were yesterday. When you share new experiences, learn together, stretch each other, you create momentum, and momentum raises frequency. A relationship that grows is a relationship that stays alive. The fifth way is contribution. One of the most powerful ways to elevate love is to stop asking, "What am I getting?" and start asking, "What am I giving?" When both partners wake up with the intention to contribute, to lift each other, to ease each other's burdens, to fuel each other's dreams, the relationship becomes a source of abundance, not scarcity. Contribution creates a frequency of generosity, and that energy comes back multiplied. And let's not forget rituals. Rituals are anchors that keep your relationship tuned to a higher frequency. They don't have to be elaborate. It could be a weekly date night, a morning coffee together, a 3-minute gratitude exchange before bed. Rituals remind you to pause and connect, even in the chaos of life. They keep the relationship from being swallowed by busyness, and when done with intention, rituals become sacred, tiny practices that hold massive emotional power. Now here's the key. Raising the frequency is not about waiting for inspiration to strike. It's about conditioning. Just like your body doesn't get strong by exercising once, your relationship doesn't stay alive with one big gesture. It's the consistent, daily choices that shape the atmosphere you live in together. Ask yourself, what's the emotional tone of my relationship most of the time? Is it light, energized, joyful, or is it heavy, flat, and drained? Because whatever frequency you're at will determine not just how you feel today, but whether your love lasts tomorrow. Raising the frequency isn't about perfection. It's about intention. It's about deciding that you won't settle for a love that just survives. You want a love that thrives, that inspires, that lights up everyone around you, and the beautiful thing is, you don't have to wait. You can start today, appreciate more, laugh more, touch more, surprise more. Contribute more. Do that consistently, and your relationship will rise. Do that consistently, and you'll look at each other years from now with the same spark you had on day one. Only deeper, richer, more alive. That's what happens when you raise the frequency. That's how you create not just a relationship, but an energy field of love that nothing can shake. Now picture your life 6 months from now, living awake in love. That glance across the table is magnetic. The touch still sends shivers. Conflicts don't tear you apart. They pull you closer. You are living in partnership, deep connection, unwavering trust. Here's your challenge, your breakthrough tonight. Decide to become the person who naturally awakens love day after day after day. Raise your standards, own your feelings, speak with heart, and flood your relationship with love rituals and joy. This is your blueprint, but blueprint without action is just paper. Will you act? Will you choose today to wake up as the person who doesn't just find love, but creates and sustains it? Your power is here. Your love is waiting, and your choice starts right now. Raise voice, slow with power on last sentence.